But with Inter, you can't sell a player big coming from what you call Italian league. Let's give an example of Ademola Lookman. Look at what all that he's done. Ademola Lookman won African Player of the Year. He was the best player in Europa, but he's being sold from Atlanta to Inter for 50 million euros. What has Alexander Isak done?
You get, if you look at the level Real Madrid operates, and then you juxtapose it across the length and breadth of the La Liga, you would want to mention, I say Barcelona half-heartedly. Apart from Barcelona, who else is there?
Let's go.
Oh, come on.
They are also one of the powerhouses in the land.
Granted, there is Atletico.
It was a one-man person who buys it. So when the person is out, Berlusconi had issues legally and the Italian government and all of that. So when he was off, that was how it was. Aurelio De Laurentiis is one person. He could only rely on sales in order to make all of the money he could get. But with the famous sports group, it is more like an organization that is supposed to do that.
Should rather go for a proper midfielder that would create that that stability in the team. What is affecting the United team at the moment, I think, has to be a midfielder that will give the team that balance that the team needs.
So it should tell you that the team is not so ready, especially coming from the always looking at it that they will be facing Arsenal in the first fixture of the season. It should tell you that it's going to be a very huge hill or mountain for them to climb. And looking at whatever that has happened during the preseason, they are not ready. United can't win 4 big games. Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. You can't tell me you are going to get 12 out of 12. No. If United get 12 out of 12 in those games, then it means they will win the league. You know what I'm saying?
Hi guys, this is another edition of Sports 101, and today we'll be discussing lots of interesting trending topics in the world of sports, especially when it comes to the transfers, as we are in that transfer season. But before we get into that conversation, kindly subscribe on Sports 101 on YouTube, TikTok, and on Facebook. It is Sports 10ONE. And so like, subscribe, share, comment. Let's know what you think about the topics we are discussing. Let's know your opinion. Share everything we talk about, and we'll be grateful to have your observations. Guys, today we will be discussing transfers. And if you've noticed, in the transfer window as it stands now, the Premier League teams are the most vibrant teams in the transfer window. So let's get into the dynamics as to what exactly is the reason why the Premier League teams are the big spenders in the transfer window. It's something that has been, going on for a couple of seasons. If you go to the La Liga, you only find the likes of Madrid and Barca. If you go to the Bundesliga, probably maybe Bayern Munich alone. But when you come to the Premier League, everybody has an equal opportunity. Kofi is here, Percy is here. Hello guys.
Hi.
Hello.
What do you think about the Premier League being the dominant force in the transfer window?
Well, I think that since Percy is the newest guy on this episode, maybe Percy needs to go with the reasons for the dominance of the Premier League in this particular. But well, I think that if you back to the question you asked, if you go back to the genesis about the whole formation of the EPL and then the intent behind setting up the new EPL as it is today, you'd realize that the people who created that framework imagine the day like this, a day where clubs will be able to outcompete each other regards the sort of revenues that are being generated by the individual clubs, because it's a basic principle of life. I mean, where there is massive competition, where there is massive competition, it breeds proper competition, if I should put it that way. So I am not too surprised that the EPL clubs are the ones generating all of the buzz in the transfer market. One of the things that has to be accountable for that has to be the TV revenue. And I think that if you come to the EPL, the TV revenue and the structure it is today, it is unlike any of the other leagues in the world. I mean, we have so much spoken about the fact that the EPL makes sure that all of the 20 teams competing in the league are almost at par regards the sort of monies they generate from the broadcasting of the various matches. It is not like that in Spain, where the top two are able to go broker their own deals, and then the remainder of the 18 are also able to do their own stuff. So you realize that there's always disparity between what it is that Real Madrid and Barcelona are getting in Spain and what it is that the other 18 teams are getting. It is not like that so much in Germany, where it is almost like the supporters own the various franchises, and so they dictate so much what the dictates of the club should be going forward. So I think that the EPL, it is the most packaged league in the world, and it comes with all of the benefits it comes with. I am not too surprised. Also, there's lots of monies being generated from where you position regards the league standings, and it also generates a lot of money. I've always said that, listen, to be able to sell a competitive product, you need elements of that entirety who are self-competitive, who are able to generate that level of competition themselves, so that when you start pitching them against each other, you know that, oh, okay, this can generate this number of hype, this can generate X number of views, which will be globally appealing to the viewing public. So I think that those will be my initial comments about why the EPL is dominating so much. In the past, we had teams which were dominant. Manchester United, it was the Liverpool era, they came the Manchester United era. There was the Arsenal era, which was begun by Arsene Wenger. Even before Arsene Wenger, Arsenal had a legendary manager who did a lot of things right, you understand? And then it was followed closely by Jose Mourinho, and subsequently the revolution of Chelsea, and Manchester United took over. And then there's the era of the Manchester Cities, where the sheikhs have come in, have pumped in a lot of money, and then are doing a lot of things right. So I think that ultimately it's down to the various elements in the league doing their stuff right, pitching the right grades, and then making sure that collectively there is that fierce competition between all of the elements in the league.
Percy, you from what Kofi said, for example, you have a situation where even the 10th place team in the Premier League earns more money than the team that's won the Champions League as a result of some of these intricacies. We look at even ownership, but where do you stand on this?
Now, what Kofi was saying, I would want to continue from there. Now, this is the era of the English Premier League. In order for us to understand this, you would have to know where this whole thing obviously started from. There had never been a point where in Europe you talk of maybe the top five, that is Premiership, the La Liga, the Serie A, and the French League, and the rest. They've all had that power in terms of financially at the same time. Let's just take probably the early 90s, late 80s and early 90s. That is in the Italian league. The Italian league actually reigned for, let's say, a period of almost 15 years. That is from the 80s, when you had Berlusconi, Silvio Berlusconi, the late. He came in and bought AC Milan, and at that time he could assemble 3 Ballon d'Or winners in one team, which was crazy.
In the Italian league?
Yes, in the Italian league. He had Van Basten, he had what do you call it?
Gullit.
He also had Rijkaard, all of them in one team, which was crazy, and they won the Champions League 3 times in a period of 4 years. They trashed Barcelona 1993, and it has never happened before until PSG did it to Inter Milan. It continued, and that was where the best players in the league were there. Ballon d'Or winners were there back to back. You could have Baggio was there. There was a Ballon d'Or. You had Ronaldo, Nazario de Lima was there. You had Zidane was there. You had Van Basten, and all of these people were there. So it was, and you could get to a time that in 1998 it was Lazio Inter in the UEFA Cup. Champions League, you had Juventus going 3 years continuous, 95, 96, 97. 95, 96, 97, they were there. And you could also have Lazio themselves also was also in the Champions the UEFA Cup 98, 99. They were also there. So all of them you could find, and even Fiorentina, Sampdoria played in the Champions League final. Sampdoria, they actually played, that was where Barcelona won. So you could count about 6 to 7 to 8. You could even have Maradona coming to play there. Yeah. But after a while, like Kofi was saying, the Premiership at first, it was the English First Division. They came together, about 8 teams, Everton, United, Chelsea, and the rest came together. They wanted to build a league that is actually the best in terms of revenue and everything. They started with the issue of bringing in foreign players. So they started with players like Klinsmann. They brought in Klinsmann, they brought in Ginola, they brought in all of these people just to make it attractive. And as time went on, it wasn't just these players. Now we got world-class players coming in, Thierry Henry and the rest came in. Then what actually boosted them was the acquisition by the expatriates. You started with Abramovich coming in 2002, 2003, buying in and bringing in all the players. Then it started Fenway Sports Group. He came, Liverpool. Then you had those who are actually killing United, Glazers, coming in. So it went on and on and on and on and on. Now out of the 20, you have more than half. In fact, you have Arabs coming in, you have Americans having most of the stake. And that is one of the things that have put them there. Unlike in the Italian, that it was a one-man person who buys it. So when the person is out, Berlusconi had issues legally, and the Italian government and all of that. So when he was off, that was how it was. Aurelio De Laurentiis is one person. He could only rely on sales in order to make all of the money he could get. But with the Fenway Sports Group, it is more like an organization that is supposed to do that. You have the City Sports Group coming in, Sheikh Monsoon. So that is one thing that has actually given them the leverage. You take away that, then the deals that they've been able to acquire in terms of TV, like Kofi was saying. Now, if he says it that way and it doesn't even expatiate, you don't see how crazy it is. 2022, 2023, what they actually rigged in terms of local TV right was 5 billion. International was 5.3 billion. Combined is 10.3 billion. That is for them.
Yeah. Pound sterling.
Italian league was 1.9 billion euros. So that is 1/10. If you take the Spanish La Liga, 1.1 billion euros. Bundesliga was also around 1 billion. So all of them, you add all of them, you are not even up to half of Premier League. That is number one. So they come absolutely nowhere close. And Kofi was saying something about the teams sharing equally. The team that went on relegation 2022-2023 had 90 million for TV right. That is more than what Inter Milan won winning the league. Inter Milan, AC, Juve, all the leagues they won. That is the one who went to relegation. Tottenham, the amount of money they've been raking in for not winning the league for the past 10 years is as much as Barca has been winning for all of the leagues they've been winning. That is crazy. So acquisition is 1, TV right is 2, and 3 is also the stadium attendance. 2022-2023, they have an average attendance of 40,000. Which was the highest in the whole of Europe. You don't bring anyone close. The only team that comes close would have been the Bundesliga. But with the Bundesliga, you know, pounds and euros, and the charges, Arsenal charges up to £100. In fact, the team that has the highest in the whole Premier League is Fulham. After that, Arsenal. And if you take the Bundesliga prices, they are so low. And the reason why it's a league like Bundesliga will not come close to Premier League is that they have this rule of 50+1. You can't acquire it like Premier League. You can have an entire stake. You have Glazers and the Ineos in one. So there is no way they will come close to that. And if you go to La Liga 2, the only team that has been able to always peg the Premier League is Real Madrid. We don't bring Barcelona in the figure. Real Madrid has done well because of, may I call him the Ballon d'Or president, that is Florentino Perez, with his management skills. He has realized that if it comes to commercial wise, competing with Premier League would not be an easy thing. So what do? Then let me bring in the most lucrative of players with all of the accolades that Real Madrid has. These players would then bring in the views and would also bring in the stadium attendance and the rest. If you take them out, Barcelona would have been the next person or the next team, but because of the profligacy of how they spent, especially during Bartomeu's time, they owe so much that all the TV right that they can rake in is gone. Atletico Madrid cannot compare even what they rake into a team like Tottenham. It's not possible. It is not possible. If that was the case, it is funny that a player like Goncalo Guedes, for what he did in Valencia, was actually acquired by Wolves, who was going on relegation. You could have this guy Konoplyanka. He was in Sevilla after Sevilla won the UEFA Cup, Europa League. Do you know the team that acquired him? West Brom. West Bromwich Albion could, in fact, they could outbid the Sevillas and the Valencias, and that has actually brought the imbalance between the two. So, Premier League in this era are not really that. I think that is what is making them too complacent. So now some of the teams that know they can't win the league, you take away probably Man U, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, and maybe Liverpool. The rest of them, they are like, let me stay.
Arsenal.
I had to add Arsenal. I had to add them. They've been second for 3 years consecutive.
But you eliminated them from their list.
Okay, let me add Arsenal. I forgot. The rest are like, let me just stay in the league. Let me just stay. Because in staying in the league, if you listen to the transfers that are going on, even the so-called small teams are outbidding Porto and the rest for the biggest of players. So this thing is not going to end now. The only thing that can probably bring an end to all of this is acquisition by teams. But like I said, some countries will not allow. So Bundesliga is out. With the Italian league, you had Steven Zang and his people acquire Inter. But after a while, they had to give it up because they were not making profit. They had to give Inter up. Even after Inter winning the league 2 times in 3 years, they had to give it up. But you could have teams acquiring a team, let's say Newcastle is acquired by the Saudis. Why do you think they will come for Newcastle? You think they wouldn't make profits out of it? Because if you know that just for staying in the league, you have TV right of about 150 million pounds. That one alone, plus all of the stadium attendance at St. James's Park, it's enough to you won't make losses. But with Inter, you can't sell a player big coming from Italian league. Let's give an example of Ademola Lookman. Look at with all that he's done. Ademola Lookman won African Player of the Year. He was the best player in Europa, but he's being sold from Atlanta to Inter for 50 million euros. What has Alexander Isak done? What has he done? But here he is that 120 million pounds. They say they won't take it. All because it is English Premier League. So how will Inter make money? How will Atalanta make money? So the best thing is that if we have any stake, let's leave it. So with Italians and the rest, it will just be the people now owning. But Premier League, just buy, just invest. You think Ineos is not making money? All that is happening. So for me, I concur with what Kofi is saying. TV rights, acquisition, and also with all the popularities, it is being broadcast over 220 countries. You can't get it in our crowd. We can't even get Bundesliga to watch. Even Ghana, we can't get to watch unless you do some kululubi and do some connections and you do. So, for me, they would reign for a while. They would reign for long, unless maybe something else happens.
At the end of the day, my question is, why can't the other leagues also acquire TV rights like the way the Premier League is acquiring TV rights? So does that bring us to the issue of marketability? Because you can look at it from the point of view that the Premier League have made a conscious effort to make their league attractive. When it comes to competition, maybe how good the teams are, that's practically a different conversation. But in terms of the fact that it is the most watched league in the world, and so you have sponsors wanting to invest there because that's where everybody wants to watch. You have business owners trying to invest their money in there. Percy talked about ticket prices. In Germany, they tell you that football is for the fans, so they don't see the reason why they should increase the prices of match day tickets. But if you come to England, It's a totally different ball game altogether. And so I don't know where Ivan stands on in this conversation, but I'm sure you've heard the guys.
Yes, and just as Percy said, I mean, 14 out of the 20 Premier League clubs are foreign owned. And that should tell you that the investors, they bring to the table some sort of deep pockets. You get it? And the first people that came to, or the first investors that came into the EPL, the American style, they brought that NFL
franchise thing.
That, you get that? They brought that style. And that has really, really helped most of the clubs in England. And it's really helped them to actually get a lot of money. And just as Percy said, the TV rights alone, the player sales, the FFP has also come in to help them in some way, help them to cut the losses and then run the books very well. And so the EPL well run, whilst the Spanish league, the Italian league, and then the French league, they were looking at managing how things were going. The EPL was already thinking of which player should come in again, which player can we bring on board to actually let the light of the EPL shine out there. You get it? So it's been more of they've been proactive than being reactive. That is how the EPL was run from the 92, 93, 94. Look at that seemingly rivalry that came up between United and was it Newcastle or Blackburn Rovers?
Newcastle too.
Yes, Newcastle, Blackburn Rovers. That's seemingly the whole hype it gave to the Premier League, to the extent that United had to go in. Ferguson had to go and bring in Cantona. There was this player. I mean, players had to come in.
Sheringham and bringing in
players, even players who were morally not there. Like Cantona, for example, everyone was like, no, he's not supposed to be playing football. But he brought him in, we were able to market him that well. And that is how it descended for them. So I think the EPL, they've done a very good work in there. However, one more thing that is really helping the EPL as it stands at the English Premier League is that they were able to bounce back quickly from the COVID-19. I mean, how they were able to bounce back quickly from COVID really helped them to get back the money that they lost during the pandemic. And whilst the Italian Serie A and other leagues were looking at how to manage the situation, they were already thinking of some other issues concerning money whilst the pandemic was in there. You get it? So that should tell you that the EPL, the foreigners one, the idea behind it, and then that NFL rugby level management style that they incorporated into their league has really helped them.
But the fact that the Premier League is raking in these amounts of money, Kofi, is that testament to the fact that it is the best league in the world? Because if you are having all these investors, if you are having the viewership that the Premier League is having, why are the other leagues not having all that? Because you still have some big teams. There are traditional teams like Milan, there's Barcelona, there's Borussia Dortmund, and there's Marseille and all these teams. Why are they not attracting some of these big investors?
But I think it has to do with ownership. The ownership structure. You get it? If just as Percy said, these are one-man teams or teams that are manned by some few people. You get it? But if they don't have those deep pockets, they won't be able to command the players that the likes of Everton is being sold. I mean, look at the amount of money that Everton is commanding for just being sold at 7 billion or something. I mean, it's too big for an Everton club. So it's about the ownership structure. I don't know how Kofi will want to say, but I see it as an ownership structure.
Well, I think that's back to the phrase like famously used on the last episode, for educational purposes only. I think that if you go back to the things that you speak about, all the teams, Milan, Juventus, Lazio, Fiorentina, they only appear big on paper. In reality, they are not big today. I mean, money rules the world. And even for my Barcelona fans, they might not really like me, but the point is that you take away Real Madrid from Spain, there's nobody else. And the sad reality is that you cannot create a level of competition that would generate the desired revenue where there are non-entities. Do you get me? If you look at the level Real Madrid operates, and then you juxtapose it across the length and breadth of the La Liga, you would want to mention, I say Barcelona half-heartedly. Apart from Barcelona, who else is there?
Atletico.
Oh, come on.
They are also one of the powerhouses in the La Liga. They can compete with Barcelona in the transfer.
Granted, there's Atletico. Who else is there?
You mentioned Sevilla.
No. You see, recently when Lyon were on the verge of being relegated to the other division.
Yeah.
I look at the gesture that PSG had to pull, bringing in the money that they had to pay from the Bacola sale early. It just pointed to one fact. You need other teams of another measure or some measure to be able to create that level of competition so that collectively you can sell the league. You understand? But I look at Real Madrid, I look at how they operate. Look, you put Barcelona on a pan and send them to the open market today. Who buy? All the things that they are selling, they are filled with flies. You understand? Filled with flies. Involved with a lot of scandals. Not run well, associated with criminals. Come on. So you cannot sell these criminally led entities to the rest of the world. So I think that one of the things that the EPL has done and done very well is that they have put together a cracks of, at any point in time, 6 very good teams which can outcompete each other. You understand? If it's not the traditional 4, there's an inclusion. There's Manchester United, there's Arsenal, there's Liverpool, there's Chelsea, there's now Man City, there's Tottenham. You can have other variables coming in there. And these are clubs which can buy the best players in the world. So imagine that if you have a league where you have almost more close to 1/3 of it being a super league, you understand? Then you can mirror it to the rest of the other teams. Like Evans was saying, like Percy chronologically stated. You have teams like Wolves, like West Bromwich Albion, which are able to buy some of the very best players from the other leagues. So I think that the people who marketed the EPL, and for me, I do not think that there's a better league than the EPL. Honestly, I do not think there's a better league than the EPL.
But guys, we've heralded Real Madrid, and we've talked about the fact that they are a very, very well-run club. Mm-hmm. They have everything going well for them, especially when it comes to their finances. Now, we've also talked about Barcelona. We've talked about the other teams in the La Liga. And Kofi, you mentioned the gesture that PSG should
had to pull,
Lyon.
Yeah.
Now, when we go to the La Liga, mm-hmm. is it a case of Real Madrid enjoying the fact that the other teams are beneath them? Typical example, here's a case where Barcelona is struggling to even register players. So with Madrid and everything that they stand for, isn't it supposed to be a collective effort where you have the likes of Real Madrid leading from the front line and then carrying the league along? To me, it seems like they are probably enjoying the fact that they are that.
Well, I think you make a very good point, but I'll say this: the La Liga does not deserve Real Madrid. Real Madrid deserves to be playing in another proper league more than the La Liga, because I look at Real Madrid and how it's branded, how it's run, who it is leading Real Madrid. I do not think that for a team like Real Madrid, they need to be situated in Spain. They need to be taken outside, where probably Real Madrid needs to be migrated to the EPL, because you have the creme de la creme. You see, Real Madrid cannot pay for the sins of a criminally run entity. You do not expect Real Madrid to come to the help of Barcelona, where the problems of Barcelona are self-inflicted.
Not necessarily Barcelona, The
but
league in
everybody else, you understand? And I think that
even the TV rights deal, for example, it's not even equally shared.
No. Real Madrid and Barcelona
They bully the other teams.
Negotiate for their own deals. Then the other teams will come and take the remainder. I think that it boils down to the leadership of the La Liga. You understand? Breaking that monopoly. It is going to be difficult because a team like Real Madrid, obviously, with all of the monopoly it does enjoy and with its global appeal, it's not too surprised that elements from Real Madrid were the ones leading the charge on the Super League scene. You understand? They know their value on the international market. They know their value on the global market. At the end of the day, they know the reach that it gives any entity that wants to be associated with Real Madrid. But the point is simple. I think that if you want better competition, and I think that this is solely a leadership problem. It is down to the leadership of the La Liga and what it is, the vision they hold. Because if you cannot bring all of these boys to a table and tell them that, listen, it doesn't look like Percy said, it doesn't look like anybody is going to break the front of the EPL in the foreseeable future. And if you want to break it, I mean, what better way to break it? Imagine Barcelona being run right, Real Madrid being run right, Atletico Madrid going in the direction it is. All of these other teams in the La Liga, Valencia, if you have teams like, what's the name, Sevilla, who have become stalwarts in the lower division of European football. They have been there, they have seen it, they have dominated. Imagine putting all of these variables together and then forming one huge entity. I think that you could provide some level of competition for the EPL.
It's an interesting conversation here on Sports 101 with the guys. You can still like, subscribe, share, and comment. Let's know what you think about the dominance of the Premier League teams in the transfer market, how well they are spending. Chelsea have signed another player. They are currently the highest spending team in the Premier League in history, and we are looking forward to Liverpool also still making 1 or 2 signings before the end of the transfer window. The figures that the Premier League teams are commanding are outstanding. But we'll go on in the conversation. And just last night, United won the Premier League summer series. Some are saying that it's the first trophy under Amorim. A lot of United fans are excited about that. We've seen the new signings, Cunha and Mbeumo. These guys come into the United team and at least have some minutes in the preseason in the United States. What does it look like going into the season for Man United? Guys, I have already maintained that United need a proper midfielder. United need somebody that can carry the ball. United need a tackler. United need, if I have to put everything in one person, maybe I'll say Vitinha. I think that, as I said in the last episode, if United are down to signing just one more player, rather than going in for a striker, United should rather go in for a proper midfielder that would create that, that stability in the team. What is affecting the United team at the moment, I think, has to be a midfielder that will give the team that balance that the team needs. Evans is a United fan. I don't know if you're speaking as a pundit or as a United fan, but do you think United is ready for the season?
Well, I believe that United is not so ready for the season. They are still chases of problems. They are still chases of problems or cracks that were in the team last season. So it should tell you that the team is not so ready, especially coming from always looking at it that they will be facing Arsenal in the first fixture of the season. It should tell you that it's going to be a very huge hill or mountain for them to climb. And looking at whatever that has happened during the preseason, they are not ready. And yes, United do need at least 2 more players. I won't subscribe to one. No? Yes, United need a midfielder, but they need a real striker. That is my view. They need a real striker because going into the season, this EPL, or the EPL that has been there for the past 6-7 years, the EPL has been about goals. It's not been about it's been about goals and goal contributions. It's not been about who has played the nicest football. Arsenal would have had 7 trophies so far. It has not been about who has played the nicest football. It has not been about who has been able to carry the ball a lot more. No, it's been about goals and goal contributions. And that's why United need a striker and a midfielder, someone who can really feed the striker with some good balls. That was the undoing.
But United already have that in Cunha and Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes.
And that is where United will have to prove. I mean, in physics, you will be expected to prove why the Mbeumo and Cunha deals were so substantial or crucial to you. You have to prove during the season why these two players were really needed in your club. Because last season, the Cunha and then Mbeumo style of play, we had Bruno doing almost all that. And so probably you want to say that fatigue this setting getting to the end of the season. But this time you've got 2 other players who is going to help you. So now you need a striker. Someone who is 90% facing goal. Someone who is all the time kicking towards the net. Not trying to come back and win the ball and go back again. No. Someone who is making the 18-yard box and the 6-yard box his home. Staying there, waiting for the ball. A vanished striker. You are looking for a vanished striker. Waiting for the ball, tapping it in and kicking it in as and when it matters. Not a player who will come in there, come and help the midfield. No. And so United need 2 more players. A correct midfielder and then a striker. Else, the season will not be so good for them. And as it stands now, without any striker coming in, any well-known striker coming in, United is not ready for the season.
Who is that correct midfielder and striker?
Well, as it stands now, the only player they can bank their hopes on will have to be Sesko. For the midfielder, the scouts will have to go back again and see who is available.
I'm available.
You have to see who is available because look, it's the back and forth for Manchester United in the transfer window. Sometimes gets frustrating. I mean, you have a player, you move towards a player, and then there's an issue. You come back, you wait for weeks and weeks and weeks before you go in to get the player again. The only viable striker they need, or the only viable player they can get now, and with all things being equal, will have to be Sesko. And if you have Sesko in there, they will be 80% ready for the season. With Sesko in there, they will be 80% ready because he at least is a player who has the numbers, the goals, better than Zexi, Hojland, and then these are the 2 strikers United have. That's all. So if you have a Sesko in there partner with Ahmad, probably you are ready for the season. 80%. The 20% will come in when they get a better midfielder. Or Cunha and Mbeumo will deputize with Bruno to do that work. Maybe Cunha, because of what he did with Wolves. Get it? So Sesko coming in will help them. If not, they are not ready for the season. Not ready for the season.
But it's possible. United can go without a striker because they are not playing in a lot of competition. They're not in Europe this season, so they are playing once a week.
If United doesn't sign any striker, the first game against Arsenal will be the first we're doing for the club in this season.
Is Arsenal themselves ready for the season?
Arsenal is prime ready. Look at the materials Arsenal had before the end of the season. The materials they had before the end of the season, and the materials they've added. They have your Jokeris. They've had some other players coming in as well. You get it? And so they had strikers, but they are beefing up.
So they are favorites for that first game then.
They are favorites for the first game. And United first 8 fixtures. I know. The first 8 fixtures of Man United is deadly. You are facing all your big 4 people, your top 4 people in the first 8. Imagine all those 4 games. United can those 4 big games. Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. You can't tell me you are going to get 12 out of 12. No. If United get 12 out of 12 in those games, then it means they will win the league.
Oh, well, Manchester United fans never cease to amaze me. I have had premonitions, and Arsenal need to be careful. They will not know what hits them. First game of the season, Old Trafford, they will not know what hits them. Listen, I believe that sometimes we overstates the issues at Manchester United. Yes, I mean, yeah, obviously, yes, Manchester United needs to be run. I don't know, but nobody at this panel or nobody out there can tell me Manchester United does not have good players. No, it has been a lack of direction, and the lack of direction has translated to who it is that they recruit, who it is that they want to be leading the managerial charge. And one of the biggest issues at Manchester United over the last decade has been an issue about the culture in the dressing room. It's about the lack of efforts. If you look at the Liverpool team that just won the league. I mean, Liverpool won the league with Gravenberch. I mean, come on. I mean, you cannot tell me, you Evans cannot tell me that Gravenberch is a better player than Ugarte. They won the league with Gravenberch because of attitude, because of the work that the players put in, because of transparency and accountability. Look at the Pep Guardiola teams that dominated the league in the just recent past. They were not supremely the best talented players, but they were the most hardworking players. If there's one thing I feel very confident about as a Manchester United player, is that at least I know there's a semblance of what it is to have the right culture at the club. I've listened to the manager speak. I am not one of those people who are too wooed by the speeches and all of that. But I've listened to the manager speak. I think that the manager has the right mindset. And note, Evans, and to all the Manchester United fans, Manchester United has not been always about the fanciful names. It's always been about the players who are ready. You understand? We all hail Sir Alex Ferguson. We all tell stories about Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson, yes, occasionally will break the bank, sign in a Veron, bring in a Ruud van Nistelrooy, but Sir Alex Ferguson will bring in a Darren Fletcher. Sir Alex Ferguson will bring in a John O'Shea. Sir Alex Ferguson will bring in a West Brown. Players who knew what it is to play for Manchester United. That's why when I listen to all the commentaries about the fact that Manchester United should sign Sesko, see, for all we know, the manager is preparing Obi. He will be the next big thing. And Manchester United has always laid the foundation for kids to go on and become world beaters. The list is endless. From David Beckham to Ryan Giggs to Nicky Butt to Gary Neville to Phil Neville, all of them. So, Messi, maybe.
For me,
I don't know. I don't know.
At the end of the day, what he's seen in preseason is the team ready for next season.
I think the team is ready.
I'm not entirely going to say I am debunking what he's saying, but I always want to compare whatever is happening. I want to put it side by side by whatever has happened before. Kofi was talking about the fact that there was a time that Ferguson, yes, there's a time that Ferguson has even played with Arsenal with 10 defenders. 10 defenders and one striker. So it was just Rooney and all the defenders were in the midfield. It's understandable. But from the 92 that United had promoted the class of 92, that is Nicky Butt and Gary Neville, Phil Neville and the rest. When he promoted them, who were the players already playing? There were established, experienced players that all of these learned from that we don't talk about. There was Brian Robson. Sorry, the Robson, one of them. Yeah. There was Cantona, who was just brought in. There was Teddy Sheringham, who was there, who was just brought in. There was also, what do you call it? This guy, there was Dennis Iwin was there.
The left back.
There was Lee something.
Yeah.
Sharp. Lee Sharp was there. I'm talking about players who were playing the English national team. There was this black guy. I've forgotten his name.
Quick Fortune.
No. Paul Ince. Paul Ince was there. So these kids were brought in to learn, and some were sent to loan. Beckham was sent to Preston North End. Scholes did not get even the 92-93. Scholes did not start. That is why Scholes has 2 Premier League less of gigs. He didn't start. Gary Neville could not start. Phil Neville could not start. So they were, although they were promoted, they were not really part of the team. The only player that could walk in and start was Giggs. All of these were not there. So they were incorporated in year after year after year after year. So Beckham came in 94-95. That was when Beckham came in. After being promoted in 92, he went to Preston North End and he came back. So I understand what Kofi is saying. First of all, it's like you spoke my mind. Number one is a central midfielder. Whenever you are playing a 3-back, there should always be that one player who gets the ball and progresses.
Casemiro.
That's not Casemiro. Casemiro is the type of when he gets the ball, he's not a ball carrier. He progresses and he moves. You need someone like a Pelu. You need someone like a Rodri who gets the ball, lifts his head like a Vitinha, will not be under, because whenever you are playing 3-back, you always need that one player who under all pressure would relax, lift his head, give that one pass that will change everything. That is what we see.
Casemiro is that guy that if you notice, his style of play is typically that one-touch football. As soon as he gets the ball, he's releasing it.
And when you are talking about United, we're always talking about last season and whatever Onana did. And Onana is good. But the issue is that any team that concedes so many shots on target would definitely have most of the shots going in. See, United last season was one of the teams that, in fact, had most of the balls coming in because of the defense we had. Obviously, what are you expecting the keeper? That is what happened to David De Gea. But unfortunately, the prowess of De Gea is shot stopping. That's of Onana. What he had at Inter, he had the Nicolo Barella, who gets the ball. He had a Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who will get the ball and relax. What does United have? Kobe Menu. In fact, Kobe Menu as primacy is not a Nicolo Barella. Barella gets the ball, relaxes, lifts his head, and gives the ball to Çalhanoğlu to progress. Ugarte is not carved in that niche to be able to retain the ball, relax, lift his head. So all United, if they truly want to play the 3-back, one thing that makes a 3-back succeed, I would give you instances. Take the Juve 3-back, that was Conte's 3-back. In the midfield, there was Marquinhos, there was Pelu, then sometimes there will be Vidal, and Pogba would step in. So if there is no Marquinhos, then, but the prime person who won 3 years running player of Serie A was Pelu. Deep line. If you take Chelsea's Antonio Conte's team, you say, in fact, if you want to play a 3-back, your standard should be Antonio Conte. He actually makes it really, really viable for you. Antonio Conte's first Chelsea 3-back, that was with the midfield of Matic and Fabregas. See the two, and the wings were Victor Moses and Alonso. So he had a Fabregas who would retain the ball. When Fabregas had left the scene, that was 14-15. 16-17, that was where he had a Kante. Kante was doing the progression, and you had Matic then was doing what Fabregas was doing. Matic is a cool-headed. He gets the ball, he relaxes. Then he releases the ball. So I've given you 3 instances. So you can talk about the Inter, you can talk about the Juve, you can talk about the Chelsea. Now, in United, when Van Gaal came and he wanted to implement this, it couldn't work. So he started, that was in the 14-15. First 2 matches, things were not going on well. Then, that was when he bought Daily Blind. So his next match that he played against QPR, it was Blind and it was Ander Herrera who were in the midfield. That match he won 4-0. And even now, he didn't play a 3-back. He played a 4 in the midfield. So, if you want to play a 3-back, you have to get one of the defenders to be very good with the ball, especially the one in the middle. Then, just after him, the one who stays as the deep line playmaker should be someone who can retain the ball, which United does not have. And constantly, we've tried that with Ugarte. And one of the things too that I think we should be worrisome.
Bruno, he tried it with Bruno last season.
And that the worrisome thing is your best player for the past 2 seasons, Bruno. United does not know where he plays. Whether he's a 6, he's a 10, he's a false 9. All of the matches that United has been playing, he keeps changing him. He is your best player. You don't know where he plays. It's like you are doing with Kai Havertz. What's the position of Kai Havertz or João Felix? What's his position? We don't know. Someone say 9.5. Bruno is now 9.5 or 8.5. Whether he's a 10. So in our 4-3-3 of a 3-4-3, the 3 top is Cunha and Mbeumo. Are they playing double number 10? Is Bruno playing number 8? Is he playing number 10 or what? All because you don't have a midfielder to relieve him of his duties. So the first thing they should think about, see, if you get a very good midfielder who will retain the ball, you will get less balls going to him. And that is where you can get me, I don't like him. I wish you get now. Donnarumma is almost on the market. You can go for him, but you get that defensive midfielder who can hold on to the ball, or whatever is a central midfielder, it will ease the pressure on Onana. It will give him that ability. So the reason we bought him, we won't even been able to utilize it. His ball playing abilities, he's not able to do because the balls are coming. He will even get a chance to even get the ball and release it. So for me, United, like he said, Sesko. Bringing in Sesko is good, but it is not all 4-3-3s that necessarily need a one top arrowhead. If United does not get it, it does not. That's not a problem, because there are instances that let's take that of Juve again. Case study. Juve team of 11-12. That was the first season that they won the league unbeaten. Their top 2 were Vucinic and Alexander Matri. They also have Fabio Quagliarella, and they also have Jovinko. Now, how many of them were number 9? Vucinic could play as a number 10. Yeah. Quagliarella could play as number 10. Jovinko could play as number 10. Alexander Matri was only number 9. He wasn't even starting. So if you say that, okay, you are playing 4-3-5-2, and instead of making it that way, you are going to play a 2 top of maybe 2 false number 9s or 2 10s, Mbeumo and maybe Sesko. Then you play Bruno behind them with a controller in the midfield, and with your 2 flanks, you are good to go. Sesko it's good. United, if United gets Sesko, then it will be a 3-4-3. But if a United does not get Sesko, they can still go with 3-5-2 with the 2 that is Mbeumo and Cunha. But with United being ready for the season, I would say I'll go with him. For now, it's like 60%, because if there is nothing like that, Charlie, there can be a baptism of fire with us now. I don't know why we don't have to agree with that. See, it's not a matter of faith. It is not a faith thing. It is not being fanatic. It's not because you are a United fan. Arsenal only lost Partey. They have brought in Zubimendi. Zubimendi is as good as Partey, if not better. They are even chasing Eberechi Eze. They are chasing him. Imagine they get Eze. Gyökeres in front. Now on the bench, they have Gabriel Jesus. He is not gone. They also have Havertz, who is not gone. Leonardo Trossard is not gone. Martinelli, they are all there. So right side, they have like 3. Saka, they get Eze. That one to cover. Kai Havertz can also play on the left. The midfield, they don't talk about it. There is Odegaard, there is Rice. They've brought Zubimendi. So Zubimendi is also coming to play with his own people. Funny enough, Zubimendi, Odegaard.
This other gentleman from the other team.
Yeah. And maybe mention Zubimendi, Odegaard.
One from the Premier League.
Zubimendi, Odegaard, and Merino.
The one replacing
the Brentford captain.
Yes, the one replacing Jorginho.
Yes. These 3 players were all playing in Real Sociedad. They know themselves. They've been playing under Xabi Alonso when he was assistant. So Zubimendi, Merino, and Odegaard were teammates, and now they've come to one team, and they've also brought it. So it is not a matter. Oh, United, of course, you will have that belief that United can do something, but this Arsenal team is on fire. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Me, I say, if Arteta does not win this season, they should fire him. If he does not win the league or Champions League, because in the history of football, I have never heard a team being second consecutive. I have never heard it before. Ever in the history of association football, it has never happened. Unless maybe somebody knows, but me, I have never heard it before. Second, two behind the same person, third behind a person who was behind you. So for me, Arsenal is in fact, they are the prime team to win the league this season. If you tell me to arrange, Arsenal is first, the rest they can fight for the second, third, and fourth position. So United is in no position, and if United does not solve this midfield and a one striker 10, and they lose the first, in fact, those 8 matches, United might lose like 5.
Can Sekou Kone do that job in midfield for United?
See, tell me his profile. This is Manchester United. Oh. Right now, that era of trying to bring in people, let them gel. It is, see, if Amorim does not do well by October, he is gone.
He's gone before.
Forget about what did we say about Ten Hag? So for now, see, Barella, if you like, splash some money, go to Inter. Inter will sell. They don't have money. Go to Inter. Vitinha there, you don't have more money than PSG. So that one they put it aside. Jao Neves, you can go to Inter. Go and splash some money. Bring the guy in. For Premier League now, Premier League is already starting. You can't go to anybody. So you can't get anyone. Put it aside. You can't go and say you want Bruno Guimaraes. They won't sell him. They are already fighting over who to replace Alexander Isak. So go to Inter. Get Barella. Put him in the midfield. Else, Arsenal will trash United. I'm telling you.
United fans, let us know what you think about Man United going into the Premier League this season. Yes, United might be a Premier League Summer Series champion, but you've heard all the guys, you've heard their takes. Follow us on Sports 101, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. You can like, comment. Let us know what you think. We've had a couple of discussions. Let us know what you think, especially the Man United fans. Is your team ready for the Premier League? You have Arsenal at Old Trafford to contend with in your opener this season. Do United need a striker? Do they need a midfielder? Kindly let us know in the comment section what you think as Man United fans. But one more thing before we wrap up this episode. We've talked about Man United going into the season. Another big team that we are looking at is Barcelona. They have made 1 or 2 signings. They haven't registered Rashford. With the signings they have done and what is going on at Barca, can they retain the La Liga? Are they ready for next season?
Let me start on this one. Let me start. When we were talking about the La Liga and the losses, I was sad it was good, but now we brought it back. I want our viewers to know how bad it is, so that we wouldn't be sweeping things under the carpet. Barcelona 2022-2023 made a loss of 1.9 billion.
Hey.
Their wage bill was reduced from 600 million to 270 million. 270. That is how bad it was.
What happened?
It got to a time they were using 60 to 70% of all revenue to just pay players. I don't think we know how it is like. It is like the debt Ghana was in. No, I want to compare it. Yes, it's on the international. No, I'm saying that, I mean the level that we're in. We were using more than 60. It shouldn't happen, even in normal borrowing.
Are the Barca fans aware?
I want them to know. Even in normal, you can't go to, let's say you are a government worker and you are taking loan from maybe bank. It is prohibited that your gross salary over 60% is paid to your debtors. It doesn't happen. Barca was using that much amount to pay off, all because it got to a time you had a player taking 1 million a week.
Mention the player's name.
We know it's Messi. You had Griezmann taking almost 1 million. Coutinho, Dembele. So the best thing they could do, we all know the livers issue, so they had to offset all of these things. They are making it look like things are well, but things are not well. 2022, 2024, 2022, yes. Madrid was the one that had the highest of the TV rights, 150.
Yeah.
After that, Barca 130. Next was not even Atletico, it was Getafe and Almeria 50. Now with this 130 that right now they brought in Rashford in, you saw that Marc Casado has been put on the market.
Yeah.
The supposed next Busquets is on the market. I foresee the next person to be Gavi. Now they are in the state that when they were bringing this Rashford in, everybody said it. How do you register him? And what you call it, Nico Williams, his brother, that is Inaki, he has said that the Barca tabloids were the ones who actually raised all the concerns. But the issue was that even if they had gotten Nico, they would not be able to register him. It is not possible. It is not possible.
That's why he needed a written assurance.
He needed a written assurance that you don't want any Daniel Omoten, that you bring me in and I now have to go and beg. And this time round too, their La Liga president is not ready to kowtow to anything, because last season they had to do everything to make sure that, oh, Dani Olmo, let's give him the chance, let's give him. But it won't happen, because it is really going to hurt them. It is going to hurt the La Liga.
Rashford says he's confident that he will register.
Rashford just wanted a way out. Now he thinks he's not been registered. He's not part of the whole thing. So for me, for Barca, last season, the reason why Barca won the league is that every first stage of a Galactico era is almost a failure. We all know. It is not something we don't know.
You don't think it's down to the
No. We know it is what. No, this is what happens to Real Madrid. We know. When they brought in Figo, whatever, Ronaldo and the rest, first season, were just Ronaldinho and the rest, they did the job. But that's when Owen came. Owen came in 2004. Yeah. The Galactico era was set. They won the league 04-05. And they won the Champions League 05-06. Fine. The same way 09-010, when they brought in Kaká, Xabi Alonso, and all of those ones too.
Ronaldo.
But seasons afterwards, what happened? So right now, Madrid is trying to gel. They had a confusion between Vinicius. Now you've heard that Mbappe has been told you will take penalties. There is no drama again. So it is because of last season, Madrid was not really organized. That is why they could use that as an advantage. Of course, they have a new coach right now. But for me, Barca should look at their financial issues even beyond winning La Liga or Champions League, because it is so bad. I think my colleagues will even say it is as worse as you can think of. It is. That's why Kofi said, if you take away Real Madrid, La Liga now becomes Premier League. I mean, our Premier League here, Ghana Premier League. I'm telling you, there's no money. You take them out. Who are you going to watch? What are you going to do?
No, but you see, with all the challenges that Barca had financially, yes, we know that they have been irresponsible financially. But
very.
All that irresponsibility, they were still able to win the league. With all of that chaos going on behind the scenes financially, they were still able to win the league.
But
so going into this season, can they replicate it?
But Xavi won the league.
Yes, Xavi won the league.
Yes, I mean... Wow. I mean, I think that we all need to say a prayer for Barcelona. I mean, I think there will be a good time to say a prayer for them. Then we'll bring the show to an end. Because unless the Lord supplies, I don't see where the supply is coming from.
You don't think whatever is going on behind
I think that the best decision Barcelona did was to appoint Hansi Flick. With all of the gloom around Barcelona, he's been the beacon of light, and I think that the president and whoever it is that made that decision made the perfect choice, because I would want to imagine Barcelona without a coach like Hansi Flick. Now, all of this media offensive charm. We are going to sign this player. We are going to sign this player. We are going to register this player. The bias looks at this. Because truth is that they are so far away from the 1-in-1 rule. So far away. You understand?
Just increase your mouse salary.
And for me, I think that for the good of football, it would be great for Barcelona to come back to normalcy, because when Barcelona operates at a normal level, we all know what it is that we get from it collectively. You understand? I mean, for a team that has been the citadel of some of the greatest players to have played the game, we shouldn't be talking about Barcelona in this state. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I think that, like Percy said, they need to pay close attention to their finances, because see, you cannot mask the situation for a long time. It will blow up in your face. And for me, I think that it's also good that Real Madrid have taken the step to appoint Xabi Alonso. I think it is going to mark the beginning of another dominance by Real Madrid. You know, the Barcelona fans who are so fixated on the fact that they out-dominated Real Madrid for a long time next season, you do not know what it is that Xabi Alonso is bringing to Real Madrid. I've already seen the dynamism. I've seen the kind of player recruitment. I've seen the thoughts of the manager. I've seen somebody. We've all sat here and said that usually the best managers are the defensive midfielders.
Yes.
You understand? I mean, you look at best managers in the world. You look at Pep Guardiola. You look at Xabi Alonso. You look at even this Atletico Madrid.
Yes, Simeone.
Simeone. You understand? You look at all of these dynamics and think that I think Real Madrid are going to move up another GM next season.
Of course.
Whether it is that Barcelona can catch up is another story.
But Barca is already ahead of Real Madrid.
I do not think they are.
Them 4 times last season.
No. I do
they
not
won
think,
the league.
No.
Why can't Barcelona be an improvement of what they were last season?
I do not think they're a step ahead of Real Madrid. I think that Real Madrid were a bit all too chaotic last season. They had to gel in some players. They had to bring in some players. They had to make some major structural changes. I think that they have key decisions that they have sorted this summer. And Real Madrid do not look like, if they want to spend big on another player, they do not have the muscles to do so. You understand? Already there's talk about the fact that Xabi Alonso wants to play a 2-pronged attack. You understand? Crazy. So I look at all of these. I look at all of these. I look at all of these dynamics, and I think that in fact, Barcelona would have to work extra harder to be able to usurp Real Madrid this season. And for me, if they do not end up registering Rashford, which I think they should. I mean, it's unfortunate that players like Casado are being mentioned, Gavi are being mentioned in those realms. But the problems at Barcelona, like you said, you probably need to say a prayer for them, and then we will bring the show to an end.
Evans, can they retain the La Liga?
For Barcelona,
and we saw how well they did in the Champions League last season.
Yes, and that's what Kofi said. I mean, Barca were blessed last season to have Hansi Flick. He was able to block out all the problems that was happening off the field and made the players concentrate on the ball and the grass. That is what helped him. As to whether he'll be able to replicate that this season, and that is a big challenge now. If Rashford is not registered, if the players, the key players he deems are good for his team are put on the market and do not know their fate, don't expect things to go smoothly as it did last season. Last season was the first time in charge, trying to study everything and then seeing how the season will go. He was able to capitalize on Madrid's mistakes. Look, last season was not Barca's effort throughout that won the league. No. Senior man Carlo made some few mistakes, and he was able to bounce on that. Especially even in the Champions League, some of the clubs he faced, some mistakes during the game, his boys came up and they did well on the pitch, and that was what was able to give them the results they needed for them to progress. You get it? Now this season, if Hansi Flick is not able to block out the issues of the pitch, for the boys to concentrate on whatever is happening on the pitch, it is going to be a big problem for him. They will not be able to retain the league. There might even be a problem for them progressing in the Champions League. Because Madrid is well primed, Madrid is well organized now, with Xabi Alonso coming in, and the players they've been able to acquire, the backups they've had. Last season, Madrid had problems with backups. There are some players who are not able to come and fill in the shoes of other players. But this time, they've got some backups. And all their players are running in top form. So it tells you that Madrid will be very, very, very strong to usurp this season. For Barcelona, they have got so much problems that I feel that it will eat into their performance on the field.
There's still Ter Stegen's issue as well.
There's still Ter Stegen's issue. I mean, look at the issue with Ter Stegen.
He said he won't go.
He won't go.
He said he won't go. He will take his money.
He brought in another goalkeeper.
And you have to pay him.
But you see, you all know Ter Stegen is a very good goalkeeper.
Very, very good. When you say very good, he's a top class.
That's what I'm saying, that this season it will be difficult for Hansi Flick to block out the issues off field, because it will definitely creep into the pitch and it will have problems with him. Last season he was able to galvanize the boys. Look at how Rafinha performs so well.
All of a sudden, it's as if he didn't exist. You want a left midfielder. I didn't even get the idea that the way they were pushing for a left midfielder and Nico, this guy should even be the one you should be pushing for Ballon d'Or. He is the best performing player in your team.
How do you think Rafinha will feel with all the media?
And now he's the captain.
Good. Media said everything concerning Nico Williams. It didn't happen. So he brought in Rashford. Whether you compete or not, is another issue. So the Barcelona problems and things, it's just as Kofi said, maybe not only a word of prayer but probably a video.
Look, it promises to be a very exciting season. The season starts next week, so it promises to be very, very exciting. We've talked about Man United, we've talked about transfers, we've talked about Barcelona. Barcelona fans, let us know in the comment section what you think about your team's readiness for the La Liga this coming season. You've signed in a couple of players. As to whether Barca can register them is another issue. There's a lot of behind the scenes conversation. Casado, Ter Stegen, registering players, Pedri, Gavi, and all these guys. Even Fermin Lopez has come up in the transfer market. Let's know what you think, whether Barca is ready for next season, whether you can afford to bring in new players into your team. It's been Sports 101. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and all the social media handles on Sports 101. Like, share, comment. Let's know what you think about whatever we've discussed. Until another episode, I did this with Percy, Kofi, and Lucky, as well as Ivan Squansa. I'm Sammy Breward. Until another time.